because I've got chunky thighs and a big arse. Hi booktube, it's Marianne at We Last Read Book, and today I'm coming to you from my living room because it is so unbelievably hot. It was hot in my work, it's hot in my house, and where I usually film is basically a furnace. So we're in the living room, we're making it work. It has been a long day, I have blisters on my feet, I am not having a good time. If I don't seem as if I'm in such a good mood, I apologise, but it's hot. And I've seen people and I've seen people online saying that the people that live in the UK are pussies because we can't handle the weather. Because let me tell you, right, it's 30 degrees outside right now, 30 degrees Celsius, and I know that most of the people, because my demographics show that most of the people that watch this are from the US, okay? So, for context, 30 degrees Celsius is about 85 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, right? So for you, that might not be that hot, right? But considering our average daily temperature in Scotland, like, I would consider it warm if we were at 15 degrees Celsius, okay? That gives you an idea of just how fucking hot it is in this country right now. You also need to remember the amount of gingers and very pale skinned humans that we have inhabiting our country. They are pretty much risking their life even existing in this weather. So with that out of the way, what I'm actually here for is I have a library haul. So I decided our local library is like a mile and a half away, not that far, but again decided to walk to it in 30 degree weather. Wasn't a good idea. Decided to wear short shorts. Not a good idea, because I've got chunky thighs and a big arse, which means that my thighs ended up with intense chub rub that needed a salve to cure the pain of. So my library trip wasn't as enjoyable as it usually is, but you know, we made it, we got there and back. I've still got some titles out, so I think I only took out like 8 books or something like that, but we're going to have a look and see what they are. We will just go through them in the order that they are sitting at my poor blistered toes. So the first book I picked up was Desperate Duchesses by Eloisa James. So this one is about a duchess called Gemma, and she returns to England from Paris, I think, and she is trying to help her cousin seduce a gentleman, but the whole plan kind of backfires. From the synopsis, it sounds as if her husband's not that great of a man. So I don't think it's going to be one of those ones where I'm going to be like, oh, but the poor husband. So really looking forward to reading this. Think it's going to be a scandalous tale. I have been desperate to read some Eloisa James. Also, please go and follow her on TikTok because I absolutely love her account so much. She just is amazing. Love her. The next book I picked up is The Startup Wife by Tamima Anam, and I believe that this is a contemporary fiction with a kind of romance subplot. Our female character Asha is like a science-y computer geek type, and she has this romance with her childhood crush Cyrus. Then her and her friend decide to make a dating app. I think it's a dating app. Right, it's basically implying that it's a social media app rather than a dating app. And I believe the sort of overarching theme of the novel, from what the synopsis says, is going to be how women are ignored in the workplace in favour of men's opinions and ideas and stuff like that, and are generally kind of either forgotten about or ignored in general. And I love a feminist tale, so. The next book I picked up was Beach Read by Emily Henry, which everybody's already read at this point, I think. So this one is about January and Gus, who I think are both writers that write different genres. So January is like very romantically minded, loves love and all of that, and Gus is very serious. And then I think they decided to swap genres. Yeah, they both have writer's block and they need to write a bestseller before summer ends, and then they have a bet where they swap genres and see who gets published first. Inevitably, they're going to fall in love. I don't actually know if this is romance or women's fiction. Regardless, I don't care because I really want to read it. The next book I picked up at the library was My Last Duchess by Eloisa James, and this one is about Ophelia and Hugo. So Hugo is a single dad and Ophelia is a single mum, and he ends up seeing her and falling in love. She doesn't want anything to do with it because he's got like loads of kids. She's got one kid, she's quite happy, she doesn't want another husband, she doesn't want any more kids. So he's like, right, fine, I'll find somebody else. But then he sees her again and he's like, no, I have to have you. So he is going to have to kind of pursue her, convince her that love is what she needs in her life and that he and his children are worthy of her love. And I love when we have single parents in a romance because it adds a whole other layer of kind of trust building and love and connection and stuff like that. So I have a funny feeling I'm just going to love this. The next book I picked up is a contemporary romance, and it is Dreammaker by Kristen Ashley. This one is about Evie and Daniel. So Evie is doing an engineering degree. Yeah, an engineering degree. And she takes on a job at a club. I believe she's going to be an exotic dancer. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's what she is. And she meets Daniel, who is known as Mag, and he is the kind of alpha bad boy type. But they both have heartbreak from their past that they need to face up to and deal with before that they can have a healthy functioning relationship and just kind of open up to one another. And I love seeing people recover from their heartbreak and be able to trust and love again. So I am really looking forward to reading this. I wish I could stop saying that. Whenever I'm doing any sort of haul, I can't help myself. Shut up and leave me alone. The last book that I picked up is completely in a different scope for the books, which are romances and women's fiction and contemporary fiction, and that is The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule. So Anne Rule, so this is a non-fiction book. Anne Rule worked and was friends with Ted Bundy, like most people in his life, thought he was pretty charming, thought he was a nice guy. Obviously he was a serial killer, and this is basically just her kind of like talking about her friendship with Ted Bundy, what he was like, how it unfolded, how it was during the case and all of that sort of thing. And I'm not gonna lie, I have two moods, and I saw a TikTok about this the other day, and it was like women basically have two moods, and one of them was the woman curled up reading a romance novel, and then in the next clip she was sitting watching a serial killer documentary, and I don't know what it is. In fact, do you know what? Let's do a bit of psychology here. I have some theories. Obviously, like, people read romance because they love love, right? And generally it's consumed more by women than men. That's not me being biased. It's not me having any kind of like opinion on it. That's genuinely statistically the case, okay? Statistically, women are more likely to look for romance and want romance in their life, consume romantic media, all of that sort of thing, okay? But here's the bit that we get to, which I could have researched before filming this, but I didn't bother because I kind of segued into this somehow. And that's about the true crime thing, because I'm not the only person who watches true crime, okay, or reads about true crime, or listens to podcasts about true crime, and I have a really complicated relationship with true crime, okay, and here is why. Because essentially you are being entertained by somebody else's misery, and something about that doesn't sit right with me. I think if you're watching it for the entertainment value, then it's a bit sketchy, okay? But I actually wanted to be a forensic coroner growing up, so I became kind of interested in true crime and autopsies and all of that sort of thing when I was really quite young. So this has been an ongoing interest because it was my desired career path, okay? But I don't know, like, it seems kind of almost like, I don't know, it seems almost kind of like, what's the word? I can't think of the word, right? But like, I don't know, for the victim and the family, it just seems a bit sketchy that we are so interested in it. But here is my theory on this, okay? I think it's self-preservation, because 9 times out of 10, any serial killer documentary or any sort of true crime case that is on Netflix or in books and whatever, usually serial killers, again, statistically, most serial killers are men, and most serial killers who are men, their victims are women. That's just facts. I am not being biased here, okay? I think the reason that women consume so much true crime media is self-preservation, because you like to be prepared for a situation, and as a woman, generally you are more of a vulnerable person simply because of your gender. Again, I'm not being biased, these are facts, okay? Look at it, look up crime statistics, look up information in your local area, in your country, worldwide or whatever. It's just a fact, okay? And no, I'm not sitting here saying that men don't get murdered, I'm not saying that men don't get raped, I'm not saying that men don't get domestically abused, right? I'm not saying any of that at all whatsoever. Obviously we have violence against the male population, and obviously we have violence towards people who lie out with the gender binary, okay? So I am not saying that anybody else's suffering is more important than someone else's. This is just on a specific subject matter at hand about women who are interested in true crime, okay? So I think that it might be like, if you watch these things and you hear about these crimes that have been done and how these people have been caught, I don't know if it's a sense of like self-preservation, where if you know that these things can happen, you can prevent them from happening to you. I don't know, or maybe it's because you've had things happen to you and you like to see, and you want to see someone who has been perpetrating similar crimes be put in prison for their actions rather than get away with it or be punished, but not to the extent that the crime like should be punished towards, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's a weird intersection, women and true crime. On that subject, a book that you should read that is really good. One is The Five by Hallie Rubenhold, and she talks about the victims of Jack the Ripper, and it's an interesting like sort of look on to how whenever there's any sort of true crime case, or there is crime that's been in the news or something, like the media always focuses so intensely on the criminal and forgets about the victims. They kind of reach celebrity status while the victims are kind of forgot about. And it reminds me of, I watched a Ted Bundy documentary once, and they had put a real focus on the victims as opposed to Ted Bundy himself. And there's another book that I read, another non-fiction book, that discussed the topic of kind of like sensationalising serial killers and serial rapists and any other kind of criminal that you can possibly think of, and how they are kind of put on a pedestal, and like everybody focuses on them for the crimes that they've committed while not taking into consideration the actual victims, who are the important people in the situation. As long as that person is now caught and put in prison, they don't deserve the attention. The people who have suffered and lost their lives or whatever are the people who deserve your attention. I will try and find the name of the book. I'll go and flick through my Goodreads, see if I can find it, because it was really interesting. It was really good, and I think that if you like true crime, you should read it. So that's it. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a good afternoon. I hope you're having a good week. I hope you're having a good month. If you are anywhere where it is as hot as it is here or hotter, make sure that you are wearing sun protection, make sure you're wearing a hat, make sure you're drinking plenty of fluids, and please take care of yourself, because heat stroke is not a party. It's really bad, and you don't want to get sunburned for obvious reasons. So yeah, do all of that, take care of yourself, drink plenty of water, because it's, as always, any important links will be in the description box, along with all my social medias. You can come and follow me, we can be friends, we can talk about books, it'll be a fun time and all of that. Stay safe, happy reading, and I'll speak to you later. Bye!